My name is Antonio Rossi. I used to think the worst pain a father could feel was burying his wife. I was wrong. The worst pain is burying the son you thought you had. While he is still alive. Marco was 8 when Lara died. I remember the night she slipped away. He crawled into the hospital bed with her, put his little hand on her cheek and whispered, "Mama, non dander. Don't go." I promised her, right there beside that bed, that I would never let him feel alone. I kept that promise for 28 years. I kept it. Until the day I understood the promise had only ever gone one way. For 6 years after he moved to Florence with Chloe, I sent money every single month, not because they asked, though they always did, but because I was terrified that if I ever said no, my boy would stop needing me. I sold Laura's gold bracelet to help with their deposit. I canceled my own heart test to pay for the one last emergency. I ate pasta with oil while they ate truffle pasta in restaurants I would never see. I told myself, he is building his life. A father sacrifices. A father is patient. A father waits to be invited. When they announced the wedding in Tuscany, I cried alone in the kitchen like a teenager. I sent 28,000 euros the same afternoon with a note. For my children, so that your day is perfect. All I want is to walk you down the aisle, Marco. Nothing else in the world. Chloe answered with heart emojis and voice notes. You're the best papa in history. We're keeping it tiny, just the most special people. But of course you'll be there. We're planning everything with you in mind. So I believed her. I had the line suit made in the exact shade of the Chianti hills. I wrote and rewrote my speech until the paper was soft from tears. I bought a bottle of 1985 Brunello, the year Marco was born, and wrapped it in silk. The night before the wedding I could not sleep. I sat on the balcony imagining his face when he would see me waiting at the end of the aisle, how he would run to me the way he did when he was small and had a nightmare. I took the early train. I stood outside the villa gates in the heat, holding flowers, holding 35 years of love in my shaking arms. The security guard was kind but firm. "Me despias, signore." The bride's family said strictly no extra guests. They were very clear. Only the chosen ones. I begged. I showed him photographs of Marco as a child. I showed him the bank transfer for the entire wedding. He looked away, embarrassed for me. Through the gates I watched them cleaning up. The tables were still set. The floral arch, my arch, was still standing. And there, pinned to the arch with a white ribbon, was the little framed photo they had asked me to send for the memory table. My face smiling beside Lara. They had placed us with the dead. I took the train home still wearing the suit. The Brunello rattled in my lap the whole journey. When I walked into my empty house, I did something I had not done since the night Laura died. I lay on the floor and howled. Not like a man, like an animal that has just understood it has been walking in circles with a knife in its back for years. 2 weeks later the phone rang. Chloe's voice, sugary and trembling. "Papa Antonio. We're in trouble. The bank, the mortgage. 4200. We'll lose everything. Please, you've always been our guardian angel." I closed my eyes and saw Laura's face the moment the machines went quiet. I saw 8-year-old Marco begging her not to leave him. I saw 30-6-year-old Marco dancing under my olive trees with people who called themselves the special ones. I spoke very quietly, so my voice would not break. "Chloe, my angel was buried with my wife 12 years ago. You chose your special people. I was not one of them. Now I choose mine, and I choose me." I hung up while she was still crying. They came to Verona the next Sunday with Chloe's parents, people whose names I knew only from invoices. They sat on the sofa. Lara and I had chosen together in 1982 and told me, gently, that I was confused, that I was imagining slights, that I needed help. Chloe actually stroked my hand while she said it. Marco could not meet my eyes. When they left the power of attorney papers on the table, just in case, something inside me finally roared awake. I looked at the boy I had carried on my shoulders through the vineyards. The boy who used to fall asleep on my chest listening to my heartbeat. And I understood. He had stopped hearing it years ago. I hired Julia Moretti. I opened every drawer, every old shoebox of receipts, every tear-stained bank statement. I printed 6 years of transfers. I printed the wedding photos where I did not exist. I printed Chloe's caption. Just us and our favorites. I laid it all on Julia's desk like a corpse and said, "This is what is left of my heart. Help me bury it properly." The court day came. I wore Laura's wedding ring on a chain around my neck because I needed her with me. Marco walked past me in the corridor without speaking. Chloe was in black, eyes red from crying. This time for the cameras. Their lawyer called me, a vulnerable elderly gentleman manipulated by loneliness. When it was my turn, I did not trust my voice. I asked the judge if I could simply read the speech I never got to give at the wedding. I stood up 74 years old, shaking, and I read, "Marco, when you were born the midwife said you had your mother's eyes and my stubborn chin. Promised her that night that I would teach you what love is. I thought love was giving everything and asking nothing. I was wrong. Love is presence. Love is invitation. Love is a seat at the table you paid for. I gave you everything I had, and you gave me a closed gate. Today I am not here to punish you. I am here to stop punishing myself. I release you. Filio amio. Live your life, but live it without me. Because I have finally learned to live without you." I finished reading and the room was silent except for the sound of my own heart breaking all over. Again, even the judge took off his glasses and wiped his eyes. The case was thrown out in 7 minutes. The judge looked at Marco and said, "Young man, be grateful your father is a better parent than you are a son." They lost the apartment. I heard Chloe now works reception at a dentist's office and Marco drives for Uber at night. Sometimes late. I wonder if he ever thinks of the little boy who begged his mama not to leave him. And whether he understands, finally, what abandonment feels like. Last May, I went back to Tuscany. I rented the same villa for 4 days. I invited 20 of my old students, their children, my sister, and Beatrice, the widow from the third floor who laughs like Lavra used to. We ate under the olive trees until dawn. We danced to Modugno and Pino Daniele. At midnight, I opened the 1985 Brunello and poured it into plastic cups. Because all the crystal was broken years ago by my tears. I raised my cup and said, "To Lavra, who taught me how to love, and to Marco, who taught me when to stop." Then I danced with Beatrice until my legs gave out. And for the first time in 6 years, I did not check my phone once. I still keep one photograph from the original wedding. It is the one of Marco and Chloe beneath the floral arch, smiling like nothing in the world could ever hurt them. I look at it sometimes, late at night, and I speak to the man in the linen suit who is missing from every frame. "Antonio," I tell him gently, "you gave too much for too long. But look, you survived. You are dancing again. You are laughing again. You are alive." And the man in the photograph finally smiles back. Because he knows now the most special person in the world was always standing outside the gate holding flowers and a 35-year-old bottle of wine, waiting to be loved back. I stopped waiting, and I have never felt richer.